So let me ask you a question. Do you expect the worst out of any situation? Do you often wonder what could go wrong? Now, perhaps you don't see the bright side to things, or you just aren't that confident in what you're doing. We're all kind of like that in some way. The reason is because we're easily seduced by the allure of pessimism. If you're wondering why you're so attracted to negativity despite wanting to have hope for something better, stay tuned as we talk about the allure of pessimism in this video. But before I do that, make sure to like this video as it'll spread it around to more people, and subscribe to this channel so I can continue to feed you nuggets of gold that help boost your brain and behavior. So why are we attracted to pessimism? So what makes pessimism so easy to fall into? Why are we so attracted to it? So one explanation could be that we have an emotional protection for ourselves. We are ultimately pessimistic because the negativity in itself gives us a sense of protection and control for the disappointments and failures to come. If we are too optimistic and fail to achieve what we hoped, then that can feel much more hurtful and disappointing than simply believing in the worst. Then we also have this guise of realism on us. People that are pessimistic often leverage the justification that they're just being realistic. Being pessimistic feels like you're just being honest with the risks and challenges of life. And as I said earlier, we do this because there's an avoidance of disappointment there. When we assume a pessimistic outlook, sometimes it's just easier to do so because it sets us up to be less disappointed when something doesn't go our way. Expecting the worst can lead to a lack of disappointment, so it's just easier not to be optimistic in the first place. Then there's also a sense of belonging as well, strangely enough. We all go through pessimistic phases, and some stay in that mindset and that negativity. And while reframing the mind can be tough, when we meet others that have that similar negative outlook on life, it can lead to a sense of being understood. Shared pessimism makes us feel like how we think is correct and can ironically create a sense of belonging, although not for the right reasons. And then of course, pessimism also exists to keep us alert and more cautious. Let's face it, the world truly is a risky, dangerous, unpredictable place. And so simply being optimistic without worry can seem too risky for some. So pessimism encourages us to be a bit more cautious with our decisions. But does that really explain why we're so pessimistic though? Why does that even happen? Well, besides the appealing nature of the things I just mentioned, there are several cognitive biases that influence us to lean more towards pessimism as well. There's a negativity bias. This is the tendency to give more weight to negative information than positive ones. Generally, our brains pay more attention to things that are negative. There have been several studies that suggest that out of 105,000 variations of headlines, the ones that had negative terms drove more engagement and clicks. And then there's also the confirmation bias, which refers to our tendency to seek information that confirms your pre-existing beliefs or expectations. So let's say you're already stuck in the negativity trap. You then begin to notice, search, and consume more content that confirms that belief. And even if there is evidence or content that goes against that belief, you choose to discount it. And then there's overgeneralization as well. There's a problem of overgeneralizing everything, which we do more and more in this social media era. We see a couple of videos or articles that confirm our beliefs, or perhaps witness a few negative incidences, and thus draw broad conclusions that things are that way as a whole. This belief then continues into believing that life is simply this way, and this spirals into a never-ending loop of self-fulfilling prophecies. So, as seductive as pessimism is, there are a number of problems that do stem from being enveloped in it. Well, for one, pessimism can be dreary. It reduces our motivation. So being absolutely opposite to optimism, when we're pessimistic, we have a lack of motivation. We feel as if our efforts are not enough, and this can drain our energy and desire to do more. The belief that outcomes will inevitably be negative can reduce any motivation to move forward. And then we also have a decreased well-being as well. Thinking negatively about something can of course contribute to stress, anxiety, and inevitably depression. And of course, the effects of any of those three things mentioned on our body are quite terrible. Those who have a greater tendency to be negative tend to have reduced life satisfaction at large, and when we have little to be satisfied about in our life, we die sooner. And then people that are pessimistic see difficulty in every opportunity. They create this cycle of failure, and so we're less likely to take risks and explore more. This can serve as a self-fulfilling prophecy, as I mentioned earlier, where you think you won't succeed so you don't try at all, or you put minimal effort and thereby see little return, thus confirming your initial pessimistic outlook. And constant negativity can also strain relationships. Since it affects our outlook and mindset, when we are stuck in this loop of pessimism, people around us naturally don't want to hang out with us. And even the things we talk about or how we interact with people can drain the energy of those people around us. So then how do we get out of this pessimistic mindset? Mindset determines everything. We've talked about this clearly in many other videos. So how we choose to think about life, our actions, and everything around us can shape the very reality that we live in. But what can be challenging is to escape this pessimistic mindset if we're so deep in it. As such, I'll present to you a few steps to help you on the path of getting out of pessimism. And while a lot of these steps may seem relatively straightforward, actually doing them consistently, daily, and continuously can truly change your mindset. So for one, the obvious is challenge the negative. It's normal to think negative. It happens to the best of us, and of course, for all of the reasons I mentioned in the start of this video, it can be easy to be seduced by pessimism. But what's important when that happens is that you need to respond to it differently. Ask yourself, is this negative thought truly real? Is there any evidence to support it? Have you jumped to conclusions without really testing this thought? Question the negativity coming at you and ask yourself, what's really the point of remaining negative about it? Secondly, adopt a gratitude attitude. Yes, it's tough to look at the positives when there are so many stressors eating away at you on a daily basis. It can be difficult to see the positives when you look around and see so much despair and depression. But every single day, once you wake up and before you go to sleep, it's important to try and recite over 1 to 3 things you're grateful for. Studies suggest that forcefully smiling can elevate your mood even temporarily. So there's no reason why repeating things you're grateful for daily can't do the same on your mental state. And then set specific realistic goals. Sometimes when we're trying to achieve something, we aim so high without any real action plan that we end up failing and feeling hopeless. So instead, try to construct a realistic, specific goal that you can achieve. This doesn't mean that your goals need to be small. It's important to dream big, yes, but if doing so, you need to ensure that you can hit milestones to get you feeling positive on your progress. And the best way to do that is to break out of this grander goal mentality and break it into smaller, more manageable parts. And with each success, you can then boost your motivation to do more. You also need to surround yourself with positive people. People are social creatures, and as the quote states, you are the company you keep. So if people around you are consistently positioning themselves in a negative perspective, even if those people are your friends or family, perhaps you need to start surrounding yourself with other people. The people you spend a lot of time with have a big impact on your mood and outlook, so start searching for others that can uplift your spirits and get you feeling motivated. And then change what you consume. We are what we consume. Whether that's food or content, how we feel can be shaped by the things we put into our brain and body. If you're feeling low energy and down, perhaps it's time for a change of diet. If you feel like all you see is misfortune, doom, and gloom, remember, the negative headlines are what captures attention, and so instead, maybe try to pivot the content you watch to something more hopeful and motivational. This can help to reprogram your mind in a more optimistic direction. And then take care of yourself. Just as mentioned previously, food is important to building a healthy, feeling body and mind, but in the same way, sufficient exercise and sleep also can boost your mood. There are countless articles and studies that indicate the benefits of exercising on mood. So when you take care of yourself, treat both your mind and body as a precious temple that houses your thoughts. Then you can begin to start seeing your perspective change for the better. So I hope this helped, and I hope this video can push you in the right direction to escape pessimism. If you liked what you watched, please make sure to like this video so it can be spread to more people. I would really appreciate it. And I would also appreciate if you subscribe to this channel so I can continue to help you mind the golden mind.